Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Nerdy Canadian Dad, and today we're going to be taking a look at 10 eShop games that you've probably heard of, but you've likely never played. The reason why I want to take a look at these is because on a lot of the top 10 lists, top 25, top 50 Switch games, whether it's eShop or first party, third party, indie, it doesn't really matter. You don't see these titles come up a lot. Now there are a couple that do show up on some of these lists, but they're not high up on the list. And once you get through most of those, bigger name games, Hades, Hollow Knight, Shovel Knight, these types of games, you're going to want to find something that's going to be a little bit less heavy on the wallet and give you a lot of playtime and a lot of enjoyment. Hopefully these are some picks that you might be interested in checking out. I know I really enjoyed them, and I hope you do too. I'm going to post a link to dqdeals.com down in the description for each one of the games that I listed in the video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I hope you enjoy. The Way Remastered is a phenomenal story-driven action puzzle platformer. It takes place after a space explorer loses his wife and cannot accept her death. During one of his previous expeditions, he discovers writings that suggest the existence of a method to obtain eternal life. Hopeful that it will work, he decides to return to the planet and try to uncover the secret to bringing her back. This leads to an amazing journey across many places full of alien life. The Way Remastered does a great job keeping the player interested, despite its sometimes clunky platforming. By the end of the game, I was really invested in the characters and genuinely curious about what was going to happen. The puzzles in this game make up for the minor clunkiness you experience sometimes during the platforming. Some of the puzzles are quite simple, some of them are quite difficult and span large areas and are actually really fun to figure out. Keep in mind this game goes on sale quite frequently for about $2.50 and runs about 6.5 hours or so to complete. For that amount of money, you really can't go wrong. A Short Hike is a really charming game about a little penguin who's just trying to kill some time and climb to the top of a mountain. And that's really it. He really is just trying to get to the top of the mountain. There's not much more to it than that. Along the way, you gotta collect different items, you gotta collect more feathers, just explore the island, talk to people, open chests, dig things up, drive boats, fish, play a little volleyball game. You can kind of do whatever you want with the whole point of just literally getting to the top of the mountain. And I really enjoyed it. It only took me about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to complete, but it was worth the time. It was a relaxing time. I really just enjoyed it. It looks beautiful in handheld mode. It's the kind of game you just lay back on the couch or sit in the sun and just enjoy the journey. I was able to pick it up for about $7.50, so to me it was worth it. Celeste is a narrative-driven platformer that follows the protagonist Madeline, who's trying to climb up to the top of the mountain to conquer her inner demons. The audio and visual art style of this game are fantastic. The game itself is really fun to play. The levels are difficult but fair. When you fail, you really only are mad at yourself. You know you could have done it, but you just failed. So you try again. And sometimes you try 5, 10, 15, 20 times, and you finally get it, and you get this amazing feeling like you conquered it, only to go to the next part, which is pretty well even harder. But nonetheless, when you finally make it to the top, it's such a wonderful achievement. This game is fantastic. It's not an expensive game. I think I got it for about $6.50 or $6 somewhere in that range when it was on sale, and I enjoyed every minute of this game. And once you beat it, you actually are able to unlock a more difficult side of it, which I personally didn't go for because the first part was hard enough, but if you were up for the challenge, then it would be a wonderful thing to give a go. Steamrolled Heist is an excellent turn-based strategy action RPG. You're a robot space pirate and her band of misfits who try to stop the bad guys from taking over the galaxy. The battles in this game are super fun. Bouncing grenades and bullets off walls to get headshots is wicked, and the game allows you to choose the difficulty before each mission. So if you're finding that it's too easy, you increase the difficulty, and you also get extra rewards from that as well. The dialogue is witty, the story is decent, and before each mission you can also choose your characters, pick their guns and equipment, and most importantly, you can pick their hats. Some of these hats are just ridiculous, and it's really fun to try different combinations and make your characters just look silly. During the missions, you can shoot the hats off the enemies, and you can pick them up, and then you can use them again in future missions. You have to check this game out. It regularly goes on sale for about 75% off. For me, that's about $6, and at about 15 to 20 hours of gameplay, you really can't go wrong. Ori and the Blind Forest is an awesome Metroidvania game. The art style is beautiful and vibrant, and the music is excellent. The story follows Ori, who is a little alien lemur rabbit looking spirit thing who is trying to save the dying forest. The gameplay is super smooth, the locations are wonderful to explore, you get a steady trickle of abilities that really help keep the gameplay fresh, and you can also use ability points to beef up your stats and skills. This game is a lot of fun, and if you're a fan of Metroidvania titles, do not miss out on this one. Monster Sanctuary is a Metroidvania title that involves taming and battling monsters in 3-on-3 battles. It has a good story about dealing with a threat to the Monster Sanctuary and has you fight random enemies, beefy champion monsters, and also other monster tamers. Each monster has a unique skill tree that you can customize to whatever fits your team. They can eventually access one of 3 ultimate moves and can also be shifted to either a light or dark affinity, yielding various stat boosts and passive abilities. Monsters can also have their stats altered by items and food, and a few monsters can actually evolve. To me, this game is like Pokemon on steroids. The depth is ridiculous, there are so many monsters, and each monster in its own right can fill different roles depending on how you build them. There is also an area within the main hub that allows players to access various challenges and online PvP, and with the amount of customization in this game, the combinations are endless. The game is also not easy and does not hold your hand. Unlike the Pokemon series, buffs and debuffs play a huge role in this game, so mastering them is key to success as the game progresses. Once I really got into this game, I had such a hard time putting it down. A steady stream of new monsters makes exploring super fun because you're often swapping monsters in and out as you get new ones. Trying to find a sweet synergy with the monsters is so addicting and so rewarding as well. Having the Switch's handheld capability made my addiction to this game so much worse because I literally took it everywhere I went. At a regular price of $23, this game is fantastic value for the money, but it does go on sale pretty frequently. Most recently it was 50% off. If you like monster taming type games, I am not at all exaggerating when I say this is a must-play game. Evelyn 2 is a very unique RPG game. It has a really decent plot about saving the world that spans 3 different time periods and involves multiple different subplots within each individual time period. The past is an NES looking style, while the present is more SNES era, and the future is a nice polished PS1-ish style 3D. Another cool aspect of the game, which I won't ruin by showing any of it, is that there are various areas of the game that have completely different gameplay styles. Some examples are side-scroll platforming, Zelda-style action adventuring, a Fire Emblem strategy campaign, which I really enjoyed, and general JRPG-style overworld type stuff. There are many more elements of the game as well, but part of the main draw of this game is being surprised by different changes to the core game itself. This lends a really unique experience. There's also a whole bunch of references to classic games, and some actually modern games, and I really enjoyed seeing them, though some of them were pretty funny. There's also a little card game that they added in, which was a really fun thing to do on the side. Although the gameplay in this game is really fantastic, the story is actually quite compelling, and I really got attached to the characters and their respective subplots. It's interesting to see them interact with the world as they travel through time and run into their relatives, children, and friends in different time periods. It really flows well, and the developers did such a great job. The title comes in with a $25 price tag, however it often goes on sale for 75% off. At either price, it is well worth the investment. I was absolutely blown away with how much I loved playing this game. Steamrolled Dig 2 is a Metroidvania title that follows Dorothy as she searches for what happens to Rusty, the main character of Steamrolled Dig 1, directly following the events of the first game. This game is super fun and the level designs are amazing. You can freely explore each area as you please, assuming you have the correct upgrades to do so. The gameplay loop is also rewarding. You dig down, find loot and new parts, sell stuff up on the surface, purchase upgrades so that you can dig further, tackle difficult enemies and bosses, and dive deeper into the story. I was a big fan of the first game, and I really enjoyed seeing Dorothy trying to figure out what actually happened to Rusty after the events of the first story. And you know, this is not a particularly hard game. However, I found myself really enjoying the chill nature of exploring and seeing how I can access new areas with the gadgets I picked up along the way. At $27, this game is great value for the money, and it often goes on sale for 60% off anyway. I would highly recommend playing the first game before jumping into this one, but even if you don't, it's a great experience either way. Golf Story is a golf-based story-driven RPG, but instead of combat and weapons, you do golf minigames, full course matches, and even some disc golf. This type of game has no business being as much fun as it is. It offers 8 different unique environments and loads of holes to tee off at. There is also multiplayer mode where you can choose your course, rules, gear, and terrain. And it is really well designed, and the golfing is simple, but has enough depth that skill plays a major part in your success. At $21 regular price, with frequent sales of about 50% off, Golf Story is well worth a look. Caustic II is a charming action RPG that follows a cat and dog duo on their quest to save the realm. The characters hack and slash their way through dungeons and the overworld map, completing quests, leveling up, looting chests, upgrading their gear, and learning magic spells. It's obviously intended to be a co-op game, but it can be played perfectly well solo by swapping heroes on the fly. The story isn't anything particularly special, but the fast-paced frequent combat and constant stream of loot kept me interested until the culmination of the story. The main story takes about 8 to 10 hours, depending on how much loot and spells you plan to hunt down, and a nice addition is being able to see your hero's appearance change with each item. There's just something so hilarious about a cat in full plate mail armor wielding a battle axe while fighting next to his canine partner who's dressed like a wizard. At $18, this game is an easy recommendation for anyone who loves action RPGs or is looking for an awesome couch co-op experience. Alright, I'm breaking my rule here. I'm adding in an 11th game. The reason why I didn't add it in the original 10 is because you've definitely heard of Stardew Valley if you play video games at all. And whatever the reason is holding you back from playing it, well, put that aside and jump right in. The story isn't too much to talk about, to be honest. I didn't really care much for it. It's essentially the same as every other farming simulator. You know, you get a farm from a dead relative and you have to make the farm better, and by proxy you help the town out. The gameplay is where it really gets exciting. It's essentially a farming simulator with a lot of RPG elements mixed in. You have the ability to grow crops, tend livestock, you can fish, you can forage, you can go into the mines, fight monsters, mine for ore, all sorts of different things. You can also befriend the locals, have a love interest, get married, expand your house, have a kid, build more things on your farm, make things more efficient for yourself, and also play co-op. You can play online, you can play couch co-op by split screen, or you can play locally. There is just so much to this game that will keep you coming back day after day after day, getting more money, building more things, making it more efficient, getting more animals, and working towards that next upgrade. For a game that retails at a regular price of $17, it is absolutely ridiculous the amount of content you get in this game. You'll be sitting upwards of, 100, 200 hours. You're just going to love this game. You really have to check it out. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to check out the game links to decodeals.com below in the description. As always, I'm the Nerdy Canadian Dad. Don't forget to like and subscribe.